This week on the Push Pull Legs podcast, Dan gets bitchy again about some foam rollers, and we actually go into our own training. It's a day in the life of what we eat in a day, but training style. Three, two, one. We got some good feedback last week, Dan.
Hey guys, welcome to the Push Pull Legs podcast with myself, Damik.
And me, Tom Hall. What's going on, buddy?
Must have been about something I said, surely.
Yeah.
Can't remember anything about what you said.
The people that reached out to me, literally, they just went, that Dan.
Oh, yeah, that's what they all say.
That's a lad. They were like, this guy, he's just...
What was the feedback?
Speaking so much sense. It was just like, it was like, it resonates with me so much. There was a few people, one or two over Instagram, then one in person. And what was the nicest one, to be fair, is actually one of my best friend's wife, who is also my friend, who I've known since I was it's not Laura. It's not, Dan's like, what did Laura say to you? So Jenny, she might listen. It's very sweet that neither of them are in fitness, right? But they live back in Essex, and yeah, I was Matt's best man, and then at their wedding, and I've known Jenny since she was, I want to say like 11 years old. But it was really sweet. She like reached out and was like, because of work, we hadn't seen each other as much as possible, like we can. And then she was like, your podcast last week really fucking resonated with her. And it was like how much that Matt had been working, and he hadn't come to play golf with me, even though I'd invited him like a good 3 or 4 times this year. And she was like, shit, you're absolutely right. I was like, he hates work right now. He actually got to like sit down and work with someone with the same passion. But it took that after a long time of like working with someone with not so much passion for like, so he does like lawn care and greenkeeping and all this kind of stuff. And she was just like, and he hasn't made time to go enjoy it, so he hasn't seen the good things from it. And I was like, yeah. I was like, fortunately, me and Dan have had each other to pick each other up a little bit and give us each other a little bit of a slap when we've had it. But we also go play golf or go to the gym or go and do something else. And she was like, yeah, I take control of his diary. He's coming to play golf. What day can you do? It's just like, yeah, it really hit me hard. I was like, that's good. Actually, somebody I know and care about in my life, Jenny, actually was like, yeah, you two spoke a lot of sense. It was nice. It was lovely. Then one of my clients was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, that's resonated with me as well. So it was good. I'm sure it would have touched everybody, Dan.
We touch everybody, we do. But yeah, I think it's important that people know that. And like I said, I think no matter what job you do, it's like when you hear about footballers, falling out of love with the game, or they go through bad patches and they start, despising it. It's because it is still a job. It's still what you still have to perform. And I think anything where you feel like you have to perform, it's going to get to you at some point like that. And it will cause burnout, no matter how much you enjoy it. It's kind of like, and I think the other thing I've seen a lot of recently is, again, people, someone I follow who's really good. He's built a fitness business as well, doing really, really well. And I actually met him in person because he went to Dubai not long ago. He sort of posted a question box which was like, what do you get told about working for yourself that you just like really hate when someone says? And it was that standard stuff of like, oh, it's right for you, you've not got a boss, or it's right for you can take time off whenever you want. It's all these preconceptions that you have that actually are incorrect. Like, you can take time off whenever you want. I can, but I don't take any time off. So that's the catch-22. People don't see that. You go, well, yeah, you can take your paid holiday 4 or 5 weeks a year, but I don't take any. Like, it's very rare that I do, or, and it's to my own detriment. And I think it's that whole thing of, oh, it's easy for you though. It's all right for you though. Oh yeah, but because of that, it's like, no, it's not. Like, you don't know anything, so shut up. It's that whole thing of like, in the question box, it was like, people say stuff to you like that, and oh yeah, you got so lucky with, finding a job you're passionate about. And it's like, no, it's not luck, mate. Like, it's hard. This is hard shit. This is not easy. Just because you're passionate about it doesn't make it any easier. if anything, like we've talked about, it makes it harder, if anything, because it's the one thing that you do because you enjoy it. And
it's also the funny thing is, and obviously I'm dipping my toes in more and more and more, is we're passionate about it. I'm not passionate about marketing. I've never been passionate about social media. I'm not passionate about like kind of business templates and doing all this kind of shit. Yeah, that is probably far more than the job that he realized. I would say like all that side is like, all right, 30. Unfortunately, me and you don't have to think about being a good coach. That's like it's like hay in the barn. That's always going to come very naturally. We just got to not let it slip. It's just like, all right, it's that other crap that you're like, shit, I need to learn to do this. Shit, I need to learn to do this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And that does also, like you said there, it does also come, and I used that analogy that I've never heard that before in my life, but the marketing and the stuff does become hay in the barn a little bit. Like there is aspects to it, but the problem with a lot of people is they give up before it gets that way. They don't do it in a way that they enjoy it. So like with marketing and stuff like that, again, like I've always said this, if I didn't have to be on social media, I probably wouldn't use it. I just don't. You've
never used that analogy. You never used hay in the barn as a saying?
No, never heard it. Never even heard it, mate. I might have used it, but I think it's one of those where once you find a way of doing it that you do enjoy a bit more than others, I think it's easier to kind of do that. And again, because of the current landscape, everyone telling you how you have to do things, otherwise you're a failure. It's like, well, that's half the problem. Is there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's loads of ways of doing this. And I think that's the next step for it is to find ways you do enjoy it. But there are aspects of every job that I feel like a job, and they're boring and they're shit and we don't like doing them. But it's kind of like part and parcel of it. And I think it's not talked about in online coaching because, again, it's deemed as this. And I just saw another video just before we came press record. And again, it was a thing of like, not everyone's cut out to be an online coach either. It was this whole video and it was about, look, if you don't like being on video, if you don't like being on social media, if you don't like having to write, don't be an online coach because you're going to have to do it. Like there's no way around it. And I think it's just one of those things that people don't consider. So when someone sees you and go, oh yeah, it's right for you though. You're your own boss. You do this, you do that. It's like, you don't even get it. Like you don't understand. Like, and I don't get annoyed at that sort of stuff anymore because again, it's just naivety. They just don't know. Like they don't know any better. They just assume whatever they want to assume. Like for me, I assume it must be really nice to be able to leave work at 5 p.m, turn your phone off and not have to worry about it till 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. Yeah, that's nice. You're really lucky because you get to do that, in my opinion, but you're not lucky for doing that, are you? That's just part of the job. That's just what happens. And it's just an interesting topic because as I think self-employment, entrepreneurship grows as a thing, as it will do, you're going to get more and more people feel that way. More and more people will feel burnt out. They will feel this, they will feel that because they don't talk about it much. People don't talk about it. Again, who do you talk to about it? If you work for yourself, who do you talk to? Who do you complain to? You've got a HR department, you've got a boss, you've got all these people that you can do it, which is why I think, like you said there, like we've got each other to lean on. That's why, we usually spend an hour talking before we come on air and do this. And likewise for me, like when I'm with Mike doing stuff, we just have a laugh with it and you go, okay, actually, it's not that bad, is it? Just being a twat or whatever. But if you just live in your own head the whole time, it does get hard. It does get tough.
Correct. In other news, that me and Dan have booked our apartment in Lake Como. Very romantic
week away, isn't it, Tom? Romantic week away playing golf, mate.
When people have been like, "Oh, you're going to Lake Como? That'd be really romantic." I was like, "Yeah, I'm going, best mate."
Yeah, just going on a golf holiday. Don't worry about it. But the thing is, Tom, we've got so I'm going to very slyly over the next couple of weeks play really badly at golf so that I get a better handicap. So that when me and Tom play, I've got an advantage because I need it. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be loser pace for dinner, won't it? It'll be loser pace for dinner, mate.
Hey,
I'm not sure about that.
And Dan's been buying new clubs in preparation. He's getting nervous. Shit.
Yeah.
We'll do a course. What should we do? Should we do a course vlog? We'll do a course vlog.
Oh, should we do course vlogs along the way? Saying that, I'm just looking over our scores, mate. They're actually quite fairly similar recently.
Yeah, not been too far away. I've hit a couple of, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the 70s.
Broken 80. Yeah, you've broken 80 twice and you've got an 80, so that's pretty decent, isn't it?
It's just
and you play at different courses. You play at different courses, you see, whereas mine are kind of the same one. So it's a bit of you could take away 2 shots straight away for that.
I would like to play Yeah, in the last, I think you can see it on my app. So if anybody didn't know, obviously it's like going to a different gym and doing a different workout every single time. It's probably not going to be as optimal. You're probably not going to know where all the same equipment is because you've got to fund all your way around it. Zach is same with golf, unfortunately. And Dan plays the same course because he's a member. I used to do the same thing at shooters, and I'd consistently shoot around about like in the 70s or low 80s. All the time, no matter what. And it's just like, all right, it's fine. You have that freak one where you're like, oh, great, 75 or 74. And you're like, yeah. But then you have the freak ones that go up. But yeah, I think I played in the last, I think I've got like 15 scores on there. And I think I played 13 different courses.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Yeah, you have. So yeah, it's one of those where, like I say, for me, my good scores always follow, and then 2 or 3 not so good ones. So I'm not expecting to do an amazing round. But
and my worst scores on there are all the Dubai scores. I didn't play well when I was over. Yeah, didn't play well when I was there. No, unfortunately, I think I was too hot.
Blame Dubai. Yeah,
I was too hot.
Sure.
I was nervous playing in front of Suk, obviously.
That must have been it. Yeah.
I know. The last round I was hungover, and I looked like I played hungover. That was Mike. I blame Mike because he forced me to have like too many beers that night. So yeah, that was what it is.
That's why I didn't drink much. I was like, I'm playing this tactically.
I wish I didn't drink that much because that was a really nice course. I'd like to play that one again.
Which one was that? Was that L's?
That was the L's, yeah. That was probably my favorite, I think, of what we played. Yeah. I'd like to play that again. I feel like I could score around there. But yeah. Anyway, all right. Topics for today. Obviously, we just said we've touched many people with our podcasting. Still annoyingly, I think we did get a couple of ratings last week because I actually asked some people. I think we're on 149. 149 ratings. Now, even if you go on there and rate us 1, I don't care. Just take that to 150. It's really bugging me. Like, that's on Apple Podcasts. Like, please. We know
we've got a couple left a review. Has anyone actually left a written review?
No, the last review was a lad who didn't like me. So, unfortunately, it's only 2 people on the show. Apparently, I was speaking about.
I don't blame him.
I spoke about Joe Rogan. Newsflash.
God forbid you give your opinion about Joe Rogan.
But I don't like Joe Rogan. I've never really bothered listening to him. I don't take any of his stuff, so it's absolutely fine. I believe you did. I was just speaking out my ass. Unfortunately, sometimes do that about.
I don't remember anything about it.
I don't even remember what it was about.
We've got quite a few 1-star ratings, haven't we? We got.
I don't know. Probably about
5. About
5.
Gosh. Those haters out there.
About 140 or so.
All our reviews are from 3 years ago. All our 3 years. All our reviews 3, 4 years ago when we were 5 years ago. Fucking hell.
Probably when we were inviting a lot of guests on. That's probably.
Yeah.
Taking control of it, Dan. We need to reach out to and speak to people again, unfortunately. But oh well, that's not fun. Yeah. So let's do a more training-based episode. We'll keep it nice and short-ish. Nice tight half hour, I think. We'll keep that tight 30. Dan needs to go to bed. And we spent too long looking at Airbnbs, basically. So Dan wants to talk about he got trolled about some foam rolling. And every now and again, we've done it in the past. We're going to talk about our training. We can talk about our diet as well if we really want to, because it's a big thing online. We know it is. It's like the day in the life eating of, or like, what is this? So we can do that on the show because that's a little bit more valuable. We can actually give some more content instead of taking a picture of a motherfucking corner and going, "Are they in this today?" And then like, "All right, thank you," and then like a random picture of no context of like a lake, and they're like, "All right, that's good."
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go.
Yeah, I didn't get
and then training.
I didn't get trolled. It wasn't. I didn't get trolled for the foam roller. It was more just I posted a photo and I said, "Oh, obviously not using this," and pointing towards the foam roller, and someone was just like replied and basically said like, "Why not?" Like, not a fan of rollers, and I just put, I don't think the vast majority of people benefit from them, and it's certainly not high up on the list of things that are actually going to move the needle that I'd be using with clients.
Yeah.
And I actually think they're essential.
Essential is a strong word, isn't it?
Well, essential means that you couldn't live without it, Tom, and I've survived thus far without it. So I think I'm doing okay. But yeah, and like he then put seems to be this thing going around, they don't work, lol. And I put, depends how you define work, because they don't really work.
The literature is bad. Yeah,
it's not good, is it? Like, and that's the thing, is like, if he'd have said, well, it makes people feel a bit better and a bit looser before they train, I'd have gone, yeah, in that case they work. But he has said that if something hurts or doesn't move, you use the roller, there's less pain or increased range of motion. I suppose that's my definition. Yeah, but that's not permanent though, is it? In the moment for 5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
So and then what? And then what happens? Like, so again, okay, you got two clients in front of you, all right? And you go, right, for the next 10 weeks, John, you're going to foam roll. For the next 10 weeks, James, you're going to do full range of motion, single leg, squat, hinge movements, getting strong for full range of motion. You're going to hold end ranges of motion. You're going to make sure you do this sort of stuff and move properly and go through dynamic warm-ups. Who, at the end of that, is going to have better mobility? I know.
All their names, James and John.
Yeah, James is going to win because he's the one that actually did proper training.
They sound like accountants to me.
Yeah, yeah, they do. But it's this whole thing of like, it's this whole thing with foam rollers, right? The problem I have with it is that foam rolling is always combined with, usually, I say always, that doesn't make any sense. Always, usually, doesn't make any sense. But they're combined with proper training. Like, so you can't do the experiment where you go, well, I took two identical twins at the exact same point of their training and gave one a training program without a foam roller and one with. In my eyes, I don't think it would make a difference to the results you get. But because people don't do the foam rolling on its own, you can't do the experiment. You just can't do it. So people use the foam roller and go, yeah, but I feel good doing it. And then I've been back to 100 kilos. So that, yeah, but you could have been doing that without it. You don't know. We will never know. And I just think, like you said, the literature there isn't great. Yes, they might make you feel good and all this sort of stuff. And he did concede, to be fair. He said, yeah, most people just roll around on it, having a natter, and they're not really going to get benefit from it. Like, you need to do it properly. And which is, again, is true. And that's my whole thing with it, is I don't trust anyone to do it properly because it's supposed to hurt and no one wants to be in pain. And I just think that it's just one of these things that it's, in terms of what moves the needle for most people. Again, I always coin that phrase in terms of what's going to make a difference to your training, to your physique, to your mobility, to your health, to your wellness, fitness, whatever. They are right at the fucking bottom of the list. Okay, even if they do add an added benefit, there are a million things that go before it that if you're not doing, it's pointless worrying about it. It really is pointless. Like, if you spend 10 hours a day sitting down and you aren't doing some sort of mobility, some sort of like active like movement before, like worrying about foam rolling, do that first. Do that bit first, like 3 or 4 times a day. Get your steps up, do movement, be active. Like, again, it's this whole thing about like, it's the difference maker. It's not. It's really not. It's not. Like, it's not doing anything really. And I just find it's just one of those things. And the more I talk about it, and the more that people really like harp on about it and really love it, the more I actually despise it, because I'm like, no, I don't do anything. But there you go. That's just me. But yeah, I just found it interesting. I was just like, oh my God, we're still back on this conversation again. I just think they're vastly overrated. For
fitness comes and goes, and like it kind of goes in cycles, doesn't it? Every 10 years, it's like fashion. Every kind of 20 years, it comes back around again. Have you noticed that the kids look like kind of the 90s, kind of noughties fashion right now? Like Gen Zers, they're wearing like what we would have kind of like have worn back then. It's quite strange how it recycles. Yeah, but the same thing with fitness. Recycles back in, so there'll probably be like a push for like foam rolling, I'm sure, now maybe.
Great.
But yeah, I mean, I people know that I'm for it in doing it well. I don't think it's completely necessary at all. I would still pick, there's certain things that are prerequisites that I would rather somebody do. If I had that 5 minutes, that's it, all I've got for like preparing you to go lift, I'm probably not doing foam rolling, unfortunately.
Yeah.
if I've only got 5 minutes before, which is usually the case, right? So I want to do 5 minutes of a warm up and then probably start lifting some tin. That's what most people want, and that's the realistic kind of thing that people are going to do. So if they can give me 5 minutes, just think about again, we'll harper back to golf. Fuck me, 5 minutes of people warming up for golf, that doesn't fucking happen. It's exactly the same in the gym. People don't fucking do it. We still get it was quite strange with me, you, and Sook all playing together, but we were all doing little warm-ups before we started hitting. And it's actually something I've never seen before, because I don't always play with people who are in fitness. Yet we were we know we have to do a certain amount of mobilizing, stretching, a little bit of loading before we start hitting things. Whereas people I play with other times, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? What's this?
Really?
I'm like, yeah. They're like, what the hell? Because I guess you've not really known playing golf with many other people. So it's a bit strange. Whereas I'm just all right, yeah. Playing with some clients and they're like, oh, he's in fitness, lol. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna cream it past you now. So it's absolutely fine, but it's all right. Very strange. And I was like, I'm not gonna hurt my back whilst I do this. But yeah, foam rolling, absolutely fine. In terms of and we'll beat around the only thing it's good for, desensitizing muscle to go and be used to basically go and obliterate the fuck out of it. And then you'll get short-term range of motion increase. Emphasize short-term, whereas strength training is long-term mobility increases. So yeah, correct. It's just what wins. So, and like you say, it's never done in I don't know. Now I'll only be all right, cool, I'm back squatting. And probably what I'll ask my client to do is arse, quads, calves, and then a back extension over it. So you get some nice cracks, and that's it. That's probably the most they're ever doing. They might do a little bit of lat stuff if they're really tight there, but that's about it. And then I'll be all right, we're probably going to go through your mobilizations and whatever, blah, 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 blah. We actually I did an hour on it today with my little team. And we did but we didn't touch a foam roller. We went in the yoga studio and just did literally went through every single joint and just went through mobilization movements and stretching and stuff like that. We're right, what have we got in our arsenal? Let's workshop, just go around the room, boom, 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 boom. It was quite cool. It was nice. Also, it was an hour of mobility. Not a lot of people do that. Not necessary. Don't worry. Completely not necessary. But it makes you feel nice. And then I went and trained. So we were all I feel like I should train now.
And that's the thing, is it does make you feel nice, and you do probably train better for it. You probably do. Again, I'm not, but it's just this whole, for me, it's just delaying the actual work. Again, a lot of people, I just think come on, just get on with it. You don't need to be worrying about this sort of stuff to that level for a lot of people. Again, look, athletes, people that are performing at a high level, I would do it with them probably. Why not? If it's going to gain 0.5%, they're the sort of people that need it. But we're not, most people just don't need it. Just don't need it.
Most people I would rather them go 5 toe touch squats, 5 split squats each side, 5 lateral squats, and 5 SLDLs. Do that and then hold a press up position and do some press ups. Do that before you go and lift any loads. I'd be more happy than if they foam rolled. If they gave me the choices, I'd ask them to do that. Pretty much. Lovely, Daniel. Right, let's we're 20 minutes in, keeping it nice. Dan is actually, doesn't happen that often. He normally complains to me about his training more than anything else, but he looks like he's wrapped into some sort of consistency and found time in his diary.
Don't throw that word around. Careful. Careful.
Was it consistency and adherence are the 2 biggest factors of training? Just turning up. He goes to the vending machine, goes home. In the cringe-worthiness of what you put, I literally just, I couldn't give a shit about Dan's workout. And I just saw in the background just a couple, no less, a female and male, high-fiving each other. Oh, it makes you sick. The bloke's a PT and he was doing. Of course he is.
My client,
of course,
high-fiving, but
high-fiving.
Yeah. It's not good, is it? But the thing with gyms in Dubai is they're very much cliche. So I mean, I literally watched it happen, and he caught me looking at him.
High fiving?
And no. This PT, I'm about to tell you the story. His client was bench pressing, and he was on his phone texting while he was doing reps. Literally, like the most cliche thing. It is literally that whole thing of the client lifted the bar for himself. He was doing his reps, and he's like, he probably did a set of 10, let's be honest. And he's probably on like set 4 or 5 by the time the PT put his phone down.
He's on set 3. There's only 3 sets of 10.
But the PT clocked me. I was there, and I was looking at the guy. I was looking at the PT, and he was on his phone, and he looked up, looked at me, looked back to his phone, put it on lock, and then went, right, come on, then keep going. So I don't think he was going to actually stop until he clocked me looking at him. And he knew that I was looking at him to go, what the fuck is that guy paying for? Like, literally. And it's one of those gyms, it's painful. It's a bit like the PTs are just shit. Actually, that's a lie. Some of them are all right. I've seen it. I've clocked the ones that are half decent, but anyway, as you can imagine. But anyway, it's one of those things where I kind of just have to go like to the gym now. So I've kind of dedicated some time on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday mornings. I'm going to go regardless what happens. I golf on a Wednesday and a Friday. And Tuesday and Thursday for me are check-in days. And I used to get to the end of my check-in day, say I finish at say 5ish, and I'm just like knackered, couldn't bother to do anything. And it's really helped me feel more energized during my check-in days. I obviously finished later. I finished more near 7 o'clock now. But there was no way that I was finishing at 5 and going to go to the gym ever in a million years. So I was like, well, why don't I just go straight after taking his to school? I'll go to the gym, hour, go home. Like you said, just turn up. And at the moment for me, I'm not trying to set PBs. I'm not worrying about what weight I'm lifting. I'm just literally turning up, picking up the same thing I did. Yeah, I'm just literally picking up the same weight I did last time. If I feel like I can do more, I'll do more. But I'm not worrying about where I'm doing reps in reserve. I'm not worrying about how hard I'm pushing myself on most movements. Obviously, the other day I did the front squat for a rep, which was, again, good. And I track those lifts. I track the first exercise I do of each day. But it is more a case of just going, taking my body through the range of motion that I need to go through, lifting something that is challenging, that gets me out of breath, struggle, all that sort of stuff. And then after that, once it becomes a habit, I'll start going, right, now I'm going to do structured thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to push it and all that sort of jazz. But I feel better ready for it. Like, obviously, it's one of those, obviously I do. Like, it doesn't take a fucking genius to work it out. I sleep in better, feel more energized through the day, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's all good. I'm not training for anything in particular. Like, I just think it's like obviously golf.
Talk to me details, Dan. What is the 3 training days? What are they broken into?
Oh, I do write them down.
Yeah, you have written them on your stories. You're normally pretty good at that. You go boom, 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 boom. What I've done today.
Yeah. So basically I've got my day on a Saturday, which is my longer day because it's a Saturday and I've got more time, where I do my front squats, where I do 5 sets and I work up to heavy single. So I do 5, 3, 3, 2 or 3, depending on how I'm feeling, and then 1/2. But and I superset that with pull-ups, body weight, 5 sets of 5. So that's easy superset. And then I do kettlebell swings, Cossack squat superset, RDLs, ab wheel, rollout, med ball slam, tricep, I suppose that is. Then I do single arm dumbbell row, quite heavy. And then I do that with dumbbell bench because my shoulder's starting to feel a bit better now. But that's just nice and light with cable curls, cable extensions. That's session 1. So the main thing there is obviously the front squats and kettlebell swings. I suppose RDLs to a certain degree, but yeah, I'm looking to try and obviously get stronger there, hip hinge and the squat movement. Then the next one
is single leg RDLs or bilateral?
Bilateral.
Yeah, that's
I was doing single leg, and then I added it in to do double leg.
I'm in the pro camp of loading the fuck out of RDLs. I would class them as almost like a 1A movement. Don't mind doing that. Absolutely. Quite like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex Krajewski actually pulled me up on that as well. He was like, fucking RDL's C1. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, well,
I would be exactly the same as him. Yeah. That's got to be
I agree.
a B1 or an A1. because that's like a thing you can load the crap out of. It starts at the top of the chain where a deadlift doesn't normally start top, and you're in extension. You go in and out of it like a squat.
Yeah. But my rationale for that was, well, I do the front squats first because it's heaviest that I do. And the RDLs I was doing single leg while I was starting the program and I was getting into movement. And now I'm able to do more volume. I'm putting it as double leg. But then I need to be fresh to do kettlebell swings. I'd rather they were a bit more powerful. So it's like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it depends because the main course is the front squat, and in theory, it depends what you're doing the kettlebells for. I guess in a power term, I would either put them pre front squats or even paired with, because if anybody knows, like in terms of power training, you're probably putting the power training before your strength training most of the time, because you're meant to be like a little bit more. But I'm assuming Dan's using it as like he wants a precursor of kind of a pre-activation thing. So he's trying to, there's also the case of like pre and post-activation potentiation. So he's more powerful going into his kettlebells. Maybe that's that contrast training effect that you've also got as well.
And I was also doing that before, and I was only doing like 2 sessions a week before. And that was, I wanted to just kind of get everything in. But now I'm doing 3. I am going to move them around and I am going to change all those elements to it. But the other problem with the kettlebell swings as well for me is that I don't have a kettlebell heavy enough anymore. I go up to 32 kilos and I can't do any more with it. So it's actually not a huge movement in the plan. It can't be really from that point of view. So then today I did front foot elevated split squats, superset with hanging leg raises. Then I do more pull-ups, press ups, and then I do a B stance RDL with that as a tricep. Then I did landmine single arm press with landmine half moons, with bicep curls and tricep extensions, obviously. Standard. I do that every session. And then the session I've got on Thursday is double kettlebell goblet squat, which again, similar to a front squat, which again is heavy as fuck. Single leg RDLs. And I do that with the kettlebells that I use for the goblet squat as well, which I was doing like 24s, I think. So again, decent load. Then I do half kneeling, single arm lat pull down, superset with incline dumbbell press. And then I just do lateral raises with curls and extensions. So again, it's just something to get me there. It's not longer than an hour. I get home, do my rest of my check-ins. It's just movement at the moment. But what I'm going to do is once I get back from the UK, is I'm going to formalize it into an actual plan of what I'm going to do and move those around. Because there's a lot of front-loaded sort of squat movements in there. Again, the split squat is, front foot elevated is, again, it's just a lot of quad-based sort of heavy stuff on that. So I'm going to move things around a little bit. But it was just to get me back in the swing of things, stuff that I kind of enjoy doing. And then I think I will get back into, they haven't got a trap bar there. It really fucks me off because it's got loads of shit there. It's got loads of stuff, hasn't got a trap bar. So I don't want to do deadlifts, to be honest.
Just buy one and then just take it. Just be like, I'm leaving this here. Is that all right? We get one for like 200 quid.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a play around with some of the things on there. But for now, that's getting me in the gym. And like I said, I'll go back to the UK in 2 weeks, 2 and a bit weeks time. So I'll keep doing it until then. And then when I get back, I'll formalize it into an actual plan.
Nice.
But yeah, it's movement and it's good. And it's not affecting golf just yet, so it's all good. I still can't drive. I still can't consistently carry 300 yards. So until I can do that, I'm going to keep fucking training. That's my next goal. Is fucking annoying me. Sucks out driving me actually quite a lot of the time at the moment.
Suck? No.
Yeah. I mean, he's not outscoring me, but he is out. Some of his drives they are. He's been doing speed training. He's been doing speed. He's done a few sessions of speed training, but he's changed his swing a little bit. He doesn't slice it anymore, and it does go. So yeah, a few times now driven.
I'll believe it when I see it in the winter. Fuck me.
Yeah, I'm also not like my drives at the moment. I'm not going for it. I'm like, it just needs to get on the fairway. Like just fucking concentrate. But yeah, my goal is to get off my handicap. I want to get down. I want to do all that sort of shit, and that's good. And then the next goal from there will be power with the driver. I don't use my legs anywhere near as much as I should do. I just rather get it up there, 250 carry, and it's on the fairway, and I'm happy, and it's fine. Like we're happy.
Hey, fairways are overrated.
That's what everyone says. Yeah.
Just I'm from the school of Bryson. Yeah. Right, Daniel, that sounds lovely. I'm glad that you fitted it into your routine. That was an epiphany whilst we were talking, wasn't it? You're like, why can't I fucking just fit it in there? It's like,
there you go. Yeah.
Aaron, venting, putting it out there in the atmosphere, and then it sorts itself out. Lovely. My training at the moment. So obviously we're ramping up to doing the first kind of pilot of combine training. So believe it or not, my training has centered around some of that. So currently this week I am going through each test day. Just from a time frame point of view, I have pushed myself today where I've actually hurt my ass a little bit. So but I did feel quite tired. I'm not too sure why. I think I had about like 7-8 clients today and a education workshop. So happens. And I hadn't eaten very much, but and it prepared me. And I went and did some heavy trap bar work, heavy single arm presses, and some broad jumps. And then I bailed out in the ESD because I was like, I had to unfortunately come and speak to you, Dan. Otherwise I would have been late. So I have to fit that in somewhere. But it was all good timings, just doing that, all that kind of fun stuff. So I have been doing, but I'll let you know what my weeks have been for I've been actually quite good the last 3-4 weeks. And this is it's a little bit different because I think I will be able to open it up a little bit because obviously I'm putting a lot of time and effort. Dan knows in terms of what he's done over the past, time and effort into my business. So therefore I've been at my fucking laptop for far too long.
You love it.
So loving life. It's quite rewarding when stuff is complete, and I'm ticking it off as I'm going. Just got to make people fucking buy it, and that's the only thing. But yeah, my training has consisted of only 2 lifting sessions, really. At push, maybe 3, but 2 consistent lifting sessions. Only 2. And then my other, I try to fit in 2 other sessions, but they're not lifting. Crazy, right? Absolutely mental.
It's crazy.
So as people have been seeing, I have been doing track days. So it could just seemed nonsensical that I have a track behind me and I don't use it. And I do know more than your average kind of bear about track and running training and sprint training and that kind of stuff. So that's one of my specialties for uni. So I started doing that. So I put those in. Dan's gonna cringe at what I've been doing. So basically the set out for the week is one day is conjugate training. Okay, so much similar to how Dan has set up his front squats. Okay, that's actually what he's doing. It's something called conjugate training. So he works up to a heavy single of his desired lift, but I change my lift every week. Okay, so I do not ever go to the same single on the same exercise. I just pick a lower exercise because upper's boring going to singles, and then or more dangerous as well. Maybe I'll do a pull-up single. That might be right, but they tend to look like shit. In terms of perspective as well, if you were going to do a pull-up single, would you start at the top or the bottom?
Bottom probably, but
bottom. There's plausibility for both. Absolutely plausibility for both. Because you're kind of from the bottom position, you have no stretch reflex, whereas at the top position, you will use your stretch shortening cycle, right? So you stretch in and out, and you may come back up. So it's an interesting dynamic. I'm not too sure what I'd do. I think I've done both. You will lift heavier, obviously, if you start at the top, but you just need to get up there first. Just for people, food for thought for people. But yeah, so you work up to a heavy single, and then the week after, I try and then I move on to a different exercises, work up to a different single, and then week 3, I go back to the one I did a week a bit ago, and then I try and hit 3 singles at the load I lifted 2 weeks prior. So I've gone so for example, a trap bar, I work up to 200 kilos. Cool. Wonderful. All right. Week 2, I do Hatfield squats. I work up to 200 kilos. Cool. The week 3, I go back to my trap bar. I work up to 200 kilos. Then I hit that 2 more sets for 2 singles. So I've hit 3 reps. And so it's a greater amount of load. You don't have to do that. You can do just 2. It's just more sets than what you did. I was gassed because I used my VBT. Once my VBT dips below 0.4, I know I'm pretty fucking slow and gassed. It's absolutely fine because it's strength training. That's absolutely fine. I'm trying to move it fast, but it's not fast. So it's not directly related to velocity. So that's fine. I tend to call it because I know after lower than 0.4 for me, when it's into the 0.3, I did a 0.35 lift today. I know my CNS is going to be fucked probably the next day. So I'm going to be slow as fuck tomorrow. I know I am. And it's quite interesting seeing that as well. So today I knew I was tired because I did on my precursor lifts. This is an interesting thing about VBT. I knew I was tired, but VBT told me I was tired. So I did my 120 kilo. That was my kind of where I kind of need to know what kind of I'm lifting. So on Saturday, I did 120 kilo deadlifts. And I was pulling like fives at about 1.1 to 1.0 meters per second. Today, my first set was 0.98, 0.97. I was a good like 10th per second, like 10th of a meter per second slower on that lift. So it was telling me it's not a go day. You shouldn't be lifting very heavy, but I had to do the research so I could practically work out today. So I backed off a little bit basically, but it told me that I don't have it today. I'm not quick. I'm not moving. My CNS is not fired up. So that's why I use it for my clients' precursor lifts. So I've been doing that, which is a good way of doing it. So Dan will be able to work up. He doesn't know at the moment whether he hits a 2 or a 3. If he was to film himself and go, actually, I normally at my most powerful, I lift my front squat at 0.6 for this light heavy lift. He goes in that next day and goes, shit, I've only hit a 0.5. I do feel a bit shit. It's not a go day. All right, back off. You're only going to do lift doubles or whatever. It's not worth it. You're not going to be training like decent strength that day. So you're not going to get injured. That's probably the biggest thing. That's what you use it for. Anyway, conjugate day, then like fucking some upper. I usually have like a power exercise straight afterwards. And you've probably been seeing me do like accelerated power. So those like fucking jumpy things with like bands and all that horseshit, and then moving my body weight a little bit quicker. So that's like over speed training. So you're basically trying to put more power into your body than it has. So you're enabling yourself to like put brakes on. I liked the analogy of my lad Jordan, who was like, you wouldn't get in a car that goes 200 miles an hour without any brakes. It's like you don't want to be super fucking powerful if you can't slow it down, because you're gonna get hurt. Literally it. And I was like, that's a good analogy. I'm not too sure it's completely sensible with human beings, but it's a good. I do like it. I was like, you're gonna have to learn to put the brakes on. All very good going one way, but if you can't go the other way, it's like shit, right? Then I go and do like 6s upper body wise. It's mainly upper body volume. Well, and my new volume is 6s, Dan. That is it.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you, mate.
I'm like, mate, let's just say I got time for this bullshit. I like lifting heavy things and not very often. That's it. And then arms, of course, biceps. And then on my other day is more of a power strength kind of power day. So I usually do some sort of like, so the opposite lift. So if I did trap bars, I'm going to do a squat based or a split squat based power exercise and do that as like a French contrast. So again, that's like body weight power, overspeed training, all that kind of shit. And the other way. So I was hoping that Dan was going to say trap bar jumps or some sort of loaded jump is going to make their way into his training, which I'm sure they will, because I'm going to be on him enough to make him fucking quicker. So that's going to come into his training. He knows it. And then again, I just go up a fucking volume. I do pull-ups and it's like pull-ups, bench press, single arm press, landmine press. I don't know, something that, and like I like single arm dead stop rows. It's usually something of those 5 that I go and do because they're just good staples. I tend to stick around those exercises because they're just like, these are good, these work, these are nice. That's it. Lovely. And then my track days, I've got 2.
You skip and you bound and you hop, don't you? You don't actually run. You just like do all the.
I've got one session. Stuff. One session is I do either velocity or acceleration, and 20 to 30 minutes of it is bounding, skipping, pre-warm up, and all that kind of shit. So it's getting me elastic, getting me explosive. And then the other session is nasty, Dan. I think you'd hate this. It's literally just 400 meters on, 400 meters off. Awful, absolutely disgusting. I did it for the first time. My calves were sore for a week. I was like, this isn't good. But yeah, I do like, I'm trying to do between 5 and 8 reps basically. So, but that 400 meters off is I walk round 400 meters. Yeah. I literally just walk. I'm not jogging. I'm not doing anything else. Couldn't give a shit. Right. My heart's still flying because I'm shit at this. And I was just like, I'm just going to do 400. It's not a hard 400 meters. Still 400 meters. So I try and keep to like about 70 to 75 seconds. 75 seconds I'm trying to keep around basically each time, like repeatable. I can run okay. So it's all right. Yeah. I think like some people can be like, yeah, just do 60 seconds or 55 seconds. They're like fucking bolting around. I'm like, Jesus Christ, jog on. Anyway, that's my training at the moment. That's what it's been for the last, it's coming to the end of it this kind of week. And then for everybody who's going to be doing the combine, I'm going to train along with you because we're going to know it works. Gives me something to do, innit?
Yeah. No pressure, mate.
I know. I gotta make sure I fill out my fucking shit. Awful doing that when I had a coach.
I think the other thing as well, just on that as well, like I've been, I think we talked about this the other week, but it's that whole thing again of like with online coaching and with clients that are going through muscle gain phases and stuff. It's just it's testing. It's making sure that you've got a reason to go, right, well, where are you at the end of this cycle to the start of it? And we can look at the numbers and we know where we're at. But I think sometimes people like those numbers and targets to try and hit. And obviously you've got goals you want to hit. And same with me. Like, so the reason I go and train is I'm like, right, well, I want to be able to see that transfer over into golf performance, let's say, or whatever. And other people don't have maybe that as much. So it's like, what they want to do. And I had a client who this week, again, in his plan, he's got no cardio, no running, no nothing, but he used to enjoy running. And he was, I just wanted to see how much fitter I am now. And all he's been doing is pretty much strength training. And he like smashed 2.5 minutes off his 5K. He's not done any running. And he was like, where's that coming from? I'm like, well, because you're stronger now. You're leaner, stronger, more efficient mover. That's why. I was like, that's why this stuff happens. And he's now like, well, I wanted to get now 20. I want to break sub 20. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, we can start now giving you a reason to go, right, well, let's put some more running in. Let's make it so that you do have a bit more of that in. Because if you do that, you might find actually it helps. But then also just getting stronger will help with that as well. And people need a reason to train sometimes, and those sorts of numbers and those things. And again, a 5K time means nothing. He just wants to beat his time. It's like me with golf. I just want to beat my best score. It's not like for no other reason I just want to do it. But if someone just said to me, oh, just go out and play golf and don't keep score, I'd be like, nah, it's not really much fun.
I had that with my brother-in-law about a month ago. And I was like, so do you want me to should I keep score? And they were like, what? I'm like, well, I'm keeping fucking score. Like, do you want me to write yours down as well? They're like, well, we kind of decide after about 3 holes if we're playing well. And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you know if you get better? I was like, oh, we don't here to get better or like improve ourselves a little bit. No? Okay, fine. I get not always, but yeah, sometimes. If it is an absolute atrocious score, yeah, fuck this. I'll be like, no, not doing this. But then I guess because we keep handicap, we need to like a true representation of how we're playing.
Yeah, but I suppose with the handicap system the way it is now as well, like that one wouldn't count. It just wouldn't affect anything if you have one bad day, you know. I think that's the key thing with it. And it's the same with the gym. One bad gym session isn't going to ruin your whole physique and isn't going to ruin your whole progress. Things like that. I think sometimes people get caught up in, oh, I've had a bad week, or I just didn't hit any of my numbers, I just felt shit, felt weak, it was crap, I was really stressed at work. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that happens. It's not going to affect. I just literally
said it. I've shown the data today, and I might post it and be like, look, I wasn't good here. I did the same fucking left. These are only, I trained Saturday. So, 3 days apart? The same load. Yeah, I'm that much slower. And
that's the other thing is we go back to what we talked about before with burnout and stuff, is like people also expect that coaches are always on point and always know this shit. No, we still try when we're feeling shit and we realize we shouldn't have done that. Do you know, like we all do it. We all succumb to those weekends. We all want that bit more food. We all want that week off training. We all want that, and that's fine. It's normal. And I think sometimes people forget that, you know, even the best athletes in the world have downtime, have off seasons, they don't have great sessions. They have bad rounds. You know, golfers have plenty of bad rounds. And that's the thing that I always come back to whenever I have a bad round, is I always look at, well, yeah, but when you look at the top players, you know, they still have bad rounds. They have bad weeks. They have bad months, you know, and it doesn't make them a bad golfer. And I think it's the same with fitness and nutrition, is people think they have one bad week or one bad month. They go, oh, I'm going to sack this off. There's no point. there's no point me focusing on this anymore. I'm going to sack off coaching. And it's like, well, that mentality will not get you where you want to be. Like, it's a case of, look, we all have that moment. Again, coaches do it again with clients. If they don't have clients sign up 1 month, or they've been posting on social media and they don't get any feedback, it's like, don't jack it all in because of 1 month, like 1 week. It's like, come on, like it's not how things work. So yeah,
wonderful. All right. Well,
so if you're tracking stuff and you're tracking data and tracking numbers, it's really useful because it gives you motivation. There you go. That's why we track stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
Crazy that, isn't it? So everybody that signs up will get a lovely little tracking document. All the code. I spent about far too long, 3-4 hours working out all the fucking code on that shit. Because some of it's a little bit different on Google compared to Excel. Slightly annoying. So it all works now. All spits out shit. Lovely. Yeah, might just send it to Dan so he can track. I want to see Dan's combine numbers. He can do it over the course of like 7 weeks though. So he'll never just do a test a week, mate. It'll take you 3 months. Anyway, we kept to a nice tight 47 there instead of 30, as always. Thanks for listening, guys.
I'm gonna get some dinner.
Yeah. We'll catch you next week.
See you later.